Dallas didn't just beat the Arizona Cardinals on Saturday night. They embarrassed them. 34-13. And by the time the final whistle blew in Glendale, NFL fans everywhere were asking the same terrifying question. Is this actually the same Cowboys team that missed the playoffs last year? Stick around, because what happened in the desert on August 22nd wasn't just a preseason blowout. It might have been the moment the entire NFC East shifted on its axis. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why. Here's the thing nobody's talking about yet. This wasn't Dak Prescott out there carving up a helpless Cardinals defense. This wasn't CeeDee Lamb torching cornerbacks for highlight reel catches. The Cowboys' biggest stars barely played a snap. What you saw on Saturday night was the backups. The guys fighting for roster spots. The guys nobody outside of Dallas even knows the names of yet. And they made the Cardinals look like a college team. So here's the question that should scare every other fanbase in the league. If this is what Dallas looks like with their second and third string, what happens when Dak, CeeDee, and the real starters actually take the field in September? We're going to break down every single piece of this game. The stats, the storylines, the roster battles that got settled in real time, and the one decision from the coaching staff that tells you everything about where this franchise is headed. But first, if you're new here, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button right now, because we cover Cowboys football like nobody else, and you do not want to miss what's coming next in this preseason. Now let's get into it. To understand why this one matters, you have to understand where the Cowboys have been. Last season was a disaster by Dallas standards. They finished 7-9-1. No playoffs. A defense that couldn't get off the field, forcing an offense that was actually pretty potent to try and single-handedly drag the team to relevance. It didn't work. Not even close. So the front office did something drastic. They gutted the defensive staff. They brought in Christian Parker as the new defensive coordinator, tasked with fixing a unit that had become the laughingstock of the division. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer, entering his first full off-season in charge after taking over in 2025, needed to show fans something. Anything. A reason to believe. And through 2 preseason games, he's delivering exactly that. Week 1, the Cowboys opened against the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks and walked away with a 17-7 win, powered by a rookie wide receiver named Camden Brown who hauled in 2 touchdown catches, including a diving one-handed grab that immediately went viral among Cowboys fans starving for good news. That was one game. Could have been a fluke. Could have been the kind of preseason mirage that evaporates the second real football starts. Then came Arizona, Saturday night, State Farm Stadium in Glendale. The Cowboys walked in looking to prove Week 1 wasn't an accident. They walked out having done far more than that. Final score, Dallas 34, Arizona 13. The Cowboys outgained the Cardinals 418 total yards to 320. But the raw numbers don't even tell the real story here. The real story is what happened possession after possession, and the name that kept coming up over and over again. Joe Milton III. If you don't know that name yet, you're about to. Because after Saturday night, there's a very real chance the Cowboys' backup quarterback conversation just got settled, and settled emphatically. The quarterback battle nobody saw coming. Heading into this game, the competition to be Dak Prescott's primary backup was considered a genuine toss-up between Sam Howell and Joe Milton. Howell started the Seattle game the week before. This week, it was Milton's turn. And what he did with that opportunity was nothing short of a statement. Milton went 9 for 13 passing. 179 yards. 2 touchdown passes. 0 interceptions. A passer rating of 154.4 through the first half alone. And it wasn't just the numbers. It was how he did it. After the opening drive stalled out on downs in the red zone, Milton put together 4 straight scoring drives. 3 of them ended in touchdowns. On the first one, he evaded pressure in the pocket, rolled to his left, and found running back Malik Davis for an 8-yard score. A few drives later, he dropped a dime 53 yards downfield into the hands of wide receiver Jonathan Mingo, who took it to the house. Then, just to put an exclamation point on the half, Milton capped a 4-play, 78-yard drive by tucking the ball and running it in himself from 1 yard out, giving Dallas a commanding 21-3 lead. By halftime, with a Brandon Aubrey 50-yard field goal added just before the break, the Cowboys were sitting on a 24-6 advantage. The game was, for all practical purposes, already over. What made this performance different wasn't just the box score. It was the way Milton carried himself. Reports out of Dallas note that this looked like a completely different quarterback than the one fans saw in 2025. He didn't bail early on his pass protection. He stood in the pocket under pressure. He only took off running when he absolutely had to, instead of panicking at the first sign of trouble. That kind of poise is exactly what you want to see from a guy who might be one snap away from having to lead an NFL offense in a real game that matters. And here's where the suspense really kicks in. Because while Milton was lighting it up, Sam Howell was having the opposite kind of night. Midway through the fourth quarter, Howell threw an interception in the red zone. In a battle this close, that's the kind of mistake that can swing an entire depth chart. So going into the preseason finale, Milton appears to have surged ahead in the pecking order. Dallas signed Howell to a 1-year, $2.5 million deal back in March, expecting him to be the guy. Instead, it's Milton who might be walking away with the job. If that holds, it's one of the more dramatic quarterback battles we've seen play out inside a single preseason. Now let's talk about the side of the ball that was supposed to be the problem child. The defense. Remember, this is the same unit that couldn't get a stop to save its life in 2025. The same unit that forced Dallas to abandon any hope of balance and just try to outscore everybody. Under new coordinator Christian Parker, something looks fundamentally different through 2 preseason games. Against Arizona, defensive lineman L.T. Overton came through with a sack that had Cowboys Twitter buzzing in real time. Linebacker Jayshawn Barham and safety Julius Wood were flying around the field, with Wood finishing the game with 6 combined tackles, plus another on special teams, before reportedly heading to the locker room for a concussion evaluation. Cornerback Siobhan Revel emerged as one of the standout performers of the entire night, drawing praise as arguably the best individual showing on either side of the ball. It's still the preseason. Nobody's crowning this defense anything yet. But after a full season of watching Dallas get gashed on nearly every level, seeing this group fly around, get after the quarterback, and force a turnover that the offense converted straight into points, that's the kind of shift that changes how an entire fanbase feels heading into September. While the quarterback battle and the defensive turnaround grabbed the headlines, there was a quieter storyline developing in the backfield that deserves just as much attention. Running back Jaydon Blue carried the ball 15 times for 75 yards on the night, an average of 5 yards per carry, and he did it with a physicality and burst that wasn't there the week before. He broke off a couple of impressive hurdles that had the sideline buzzing. Combined with Malik Davis catching a touchdown pass in the passing game, Dallas appears to be building real depth at a position that could matter enormously if injuries strike during the regular season. This is the part of preseason football that diehard fans live for. It's not just about the final score. It's about watching a 53-man roster take shape in real time, watching young players either seize their opportunity or let it slip away. And on Saturday night, several Cowboys did exactly the former. Here's a detail that might be easy to miss if you're just skimming the box score, but it might be the most telling storyline of the entire night. Dallas's first-round rookie safety, who played just 7 snaps in the season opener against Seattle, didn't even suit up for the Arizona game. Now, on the surface, that might sound like a red flag. But dig a little deeper and it tells a completely different story. Teams don't rest first-round picks in meaningless preseason snaps unless they're already confident in what that player brings to the table. The coaching staff has reportedly seen enough. They're protecting him, not evaluating him anymore. And there's a strong chance he doesn't play at all in the preseason finale either. That's the kind of quiet confidence that doesn't happen when the evaluation is still up in the air. It happens when the decision has already been made. So where does this actually leave the Dallas Cowboys? They're 2-0 in the preseason. They've now beaten the defending Super Bowl champions and blown out a divisional caliber opponent by 3 scores. And they've done both of it without their true starting lineup on the field for extended stretches. The vibe around this franchise has noticeably shifted. Sportsbooks have taken notice too. Dallas currently sits with a win total of 9.5 for the upcoming season, a number that would put them squarely back into playoff contention if they hit it. Their Super Bowl odds sit right in the middle of the pack across the league, hardly favorites, but no longer the punchline they were during a lot of last season either. Now, does any of this guarantee anything once week 1 of the real season arrives? Absolutely not. Preseason wins have fooled fanbases before. History is littered with teams that looked unstoppable in August and completely fell apart once the games actually counted. That's the tension every single Cowboys fan is feeling right now. The hope is real. But so is the fear that it could all be a mirage. The preseason finale is coming up against the New Orleans Saints, and if Dallas can find a way to make it 3 straight impressive performances, even with backups and roster hopefuls doing most of the heavy lifting, that's going to be very hard for anyone around the league to ignore. What makes this run through the preseason so fascinating isn't just the results. It's the transformation happening underneath the surface. A defense that was historically bad a year ago is suddenly flying around and making plays. A quarterback competition that looked like a coin flip may have just been decided in a single electric half of football. A rookie safety is already trusted enough to be shut down early. A young running back is carving out a real role in the offense. Piece by piece, this roster is taking shape into something that looks nothing like the team that watched the playoffs from home last January. Is it too early to get excited? Maybe. It's still preseason football, and anyone who's followed the NFL long enough knows not to crown a team in August. But if you're a Cowboys fan, or honestly, if you're just a football fan who loves a good redemption story, it's awfully hard not to feel something watching this team right now. 2 games in, and Dallas has answered almost every question that was hanging over this franchise heading into the summer. The only question left is whether they can keep it up when the games actually start to count. We'll be right here covering every step of it. If this breakdown gave you something to think about, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our coverage of the preseason finale and everything leading into week 1. Drop a comment and let us know, do you actually believe in this Cowboys team, or is this still just preseason smoke and mirrors? I'll see you in the next one.